You're watching my favorite YouTube channel. The panel has been assembled because it's time. It's T'Challa time. I got my comic book issue right up top. Brian's got his. TJ Flash by Night. I know. I just saw it a second ago. There it is.
Look at that night. Ooh.
Marklin read it digitally.
Nice. I did. I started reading digitally. You know, I buy my stuff and then read it. It takes me a while, but
But Chill, I have a question, and you're going to get into it, I'm sure. But is it really T'Challa time?
Ooh.
I like how I did that.
Matilli.
This week, the T'Challa appearances have been that and that final page right over there.
When you showed that on the stream, I was like, that's ridiculous. I hadn't seen the issue yet. And you're like, oh yeah, T'Challa's in there. And then you like zoomed in on that little panel all the way in the back. It was almost like trying to look for Bishop and Storm in that X-Men picture.
It was King Matilli. To me, I got my issues with that, which I voiced. Is there anyone, let's just start with anyone else who's with me, who's kind of like, damn, 19 pages T'Challa this? Who else was that way?
Yeah.
No, so I went back to the Black Panther, Colts, Black Panther, the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda, number 22. So I went back and looked at that, and that kind of filled in the gaps for me. So I didn't have as much of a problem with it because I feel like they would have added all that into this one comic book. So,
and so everyone else supported it. Everyone else like King Matilli. Yeah, I got a new hero that I can invest in, even though we'll never return to this character again.
I think that's the point. Though.
It depends if the character sells. If it sells, people will come back to it.
if they stuck us with King Matilli 100 years ago for an entire story, I wouldn't like it. To get some info in one book and then maybe come back around the next issue, it's okay.
It's just to introduce the big bad.
Yes.
So it's about they had someone physical, right? Is a bad, and now we have someone who's more spiritual from this realm, and that's what I went back to 22 because that's what they were doing in Colts one. So I think that was more of what we were getting from.
I kind of look at it like they're trying to make us understand or get over the fact that this is a mantle. You know what I'm saying? We're going to tell more mantle stories now than T'Challa stories, and that's what I'm getting from this because they could have with the big bad. They could have did 5 years ago. He could have turned into, been this. We didn't have to go that far back.
It was like 5 years ago.
This is what I meant. Spoiler.
Was it that he turned into that? Was it 5 years ago?
Yeah. So that's when. So the Colts run is like 2020, like 2019. So it would have been written like 2019. So that would have been like 3
No, I mean
years
in the book.
ago.
No, I mean like
so in the book.
So not our timeline. I mean
no, but I'm saying even on that timeline. So like it's like T'Challa was doing stuff that they were battling all from the realm were battling. They got rid of that realm, so that realm got totally wiped out. And so now he was free to travel back between the places. So like, but they had to still explain how he got locked in there.
How he got locked in there.
And that explains because when you're focused, you're changing the focus from one bad to the other. I think that you had to do something like that.
I was going to say to you, Spoiler Kings, how does this page at all help or introduce the big bad? We know Kivu'Ma is a threat, but we were spending resources and time on this, where we get to see were they in Naganda? They could not have been in Wakanda, right? This was in Naganda. Was that right at the border?
That one is on the border.
So that means that he left Wakanda to go do this. This got nothing to do with Kivu'Ma. This was like, let's tell the story of King Matilli, the Black Panther. That was the point of it. And it was cool. I loved this page because you can see at the top right, you can see the eyes in it. You thought it was a leaf, but when you focus, it's actually, you know what I mean? The king. I liked it, but I mean, when we're spending resources on a character and a world, and that's not T'Challa. And
yeah, I mean, but we building though. We building. I mean, a lot of it's weird because people complain about the Ewing run, but they complained about the run, and they complained about the Colts run. I'm like, what run is everybody happy with at this point? Because every Black Panther run is people complaining about.
I wasn't complaining generally. Blue.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it's. I just think consistent runs so we can have something to contrast to, right? So remember with these. How many Black Panther runs is there in the entirety of the history of Black Panther? Not many.
7?
Yeah, 7 or 8.
I mean, starting back with Don McGregor, you're probably right, because Don McGregor was the first person I heard got famous like writing Black Panther, and that was like before my time.
So we're trying to get to a point to where we can even compare and contrast runs. Yeah, we don't like the, you know what I'm saying, like he who shall not be named. I won't even call his name. You know what I'm saying? Like we won't even. But it's to the point of we still have to get runs so we can compare them to each other to even say what's good or what's bad. Right now we're just saying, oh, this is, we're having we don't like something, so we say, oh, we don't like it, but we don't know. We haven't even got to the point to what's good yet. Like, what is the level of good in a Black Panther run? I want to ask the panel that.
I would say it's Priest. Priest to me is the definitive Black Panther for me, writer for me, followed by Coates. That's what I would say.
Okay.
People argue me on Coates though, because Coates' first run, his first bars in the Wakanda, people didn't like that. But when he had the Intergalactic Empire,
when he hit the Intergalactic Empire, that was good.
You're saying Coates is better than Hudlin?
I think Hudlin is from.
Hudlin's run was the most popular, because I remember when I was buying that Panther, the guy said, "Man, Priest's run was better." My retail said Priest's run was written better, but Hudlin sold more books than anybody else.
He did.
But his run was like popcorn. It was like popcorn compared to what Priest had done.
Right.
Okay. In the past, I believe that T'Challa was the one to open up Wakanda and reveal that, who we are and whatnot, because the Fantastic Four were kind of surprised of everything. Yeah. Here, though, it feels like the Nagandans know of Wakanda and the Black Panther, and that's supposed to be like a secret fighter.
They knew of the Black Panther, but I don't know if they knew that he was the king.
Sure, yeah.
Because they do espionage things all throughout the comic books, like where they go into different countries and they do something, but they're not advertising it's them doing it. So he's more of a they know they exist, more of like an innuendo or something like that, but not necessarily the character. They don't know who he is.
I got you. Well, the guy who plays Kivu'Ma, or the guy who will soon become Kivu'Ma, was a Hatut Zaraze member. What I like about that is that it answers already like how he got to where he was. How was he such a skilled threat? Well, he was the leader of the Hatut. I would imagine it's just like the army.
He's his right hand. Yeah,
he's his right hand. So I the way I think about it, there's levels, right? Well, you're a soldier, and then you kind of gain in rank and whatnot, where you become lieutenant and private lieutenants. I got army people right now. What is it, Flash?
You got enlisted and officers. So on the opposite side, like you said, lieutenant, you know what I'm saying? First lieutenant, second lieutenant, going all the way up, stuff like that. Captain, then the general. General will be like, I got my whole army that I command. So it'll be like that.
So Kizumo, what was his name? Kivu'Ma? Oh.
He would have been a general.
You're doing better with them names than I do.
So what Ndozi is literally general. He's been on the grounds in his early days, fighting experience again in his 30s. He looks like a guy who's about in his 40s. And this guy has just became the supervillain who's on our cover right now, this little smoke monster. He is tactical. He's not just tactical. He is the closest you can be to a Black Panther.
So not being a Black Panther, yeah.
I'm looking at him.
Just clarification. They called him captain. Now
he was a captain,
but now in the Navy, captain is
that's different. The Navy, the captain's in charge.
Captain is like colonel in the Navy. If we're doing that, but so I don't know what their rank system is, but they do call him captain.
No, but Flash, we know the rank system in Wakanda.
You say you're second to me, like
I'm still new here. I'm still new. So
what I mean by that, what Flash, the reason I'm saying that is because we know that the Hatut Zaraze are the highest ranking, like highest, that's the police, the
right.
So he's the top, the head of that puts him in the highest of the land,
Gotcha.
Well, I mean,
so we're thinking captain is kind of their highest rank then. Is that what we're saying?
If you're going, because captain don't necessarily make you the highest of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he might be the captain of like
a battalion,
this precinct, or something like that. If we're looking at like if he's policing, he might be the captain of the Upper West Side precinct or something in Wakanda. So it could have different other captains. It's just in this area, he's the captain over here.
Right.
If you get what I'm saying, Chill.
I got.
But he expected to get some national medal though, so I assume he's captain of high importance.
being the number one, because I mean he called him kin to him. Basically, he was like, yeah, you are basically my brother. Like I see you as someone who's that important to me. So I thought that kind of explained their relationship to each other.
What else is really important in this comic that I kind of didn't bring up, because this is not going to be my best, most enthusiastic comic book review or discussion. It's like, this is one of the worst. This is the worst comic of the 6 that I've experienced from this volume.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if
I thought it was setup.
Really?
This is all setup. This is all this is setup, letting you know, because he was always fighting on the physical plane. They've now explained how this is going to be an ancestral plane, but how Wakanda is lost this way. And this person is coming in, or this entity is coming in saying, you've lost your way, and I'm here to clean the ranks. And also, I feel like it's also going to show how you guys the parliament, that you guys are wrong for doing what you did. And you put us all at risk by not having the Black Panther being the king. I feel like that's what they're setting up. Period.
Yeah,
imagining things.
I feel like Kamizu or whatever his name is, being that he's going probably for the head of Wakanda, that's going to draw the Black Panther closer to where he's supposed to be. Yeah,
and they realize that they should have never you put your whole land at risk by not having him. Maybe it's me just hoping, but
I think so. Like he doesn't seem like a side character that's going to go find T'Challa and burn in T'Chaka. He doesn't seem like he's going to find T'Challa there. T'Challa is going to have to follow him
to Wakanda.
To
Burnham.
Yeah.
Burnham.
Yeah. Wherever the royal city is. I'm still learning my nomenclature. Wherever.
Do you
so
think
basically this is a setup for T'Challa to become king of Wakanda again? That's what we feeling.
That's how I saw it. But
that was the general consensus I got. Like, okay, this is eventually how he's gonna become king of Wakanda again, because we see how
I think we're gonna get. I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be somebody totally different. I don't even think he's gonna get I don't think he's gonna get a chance to become the king again. It's gonna be somebody totally. Remember what's going on with Shuri? What was that? Two issues back when she got called back. I think it's something going on in Burnham Zona with that whole succession of who's gonna be the Black Panther, and it's not. I don't think he's gonna be able to become the Black Panther again.
I think it's the king. He's still known as the king. If y'all reading Jed McKay's Avengers, the whole thing. T'Challa's there. He's labeled the king. Right. So he's the king still.
Yeah, but I think that's just for us. We know him as the king, like, because they gave everybody a subtitle. You know what I'm saying? He's the king.
Captain Marvel's the star.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like things like that. But I think that's just for the reader. I don't think that's necessarily saying that T'Challa's gonna be king. I don't remember that first episode. He didn't even that first issue. He didn't even have the garb he has on now. He was still in his old Black Panther.
So they're not even reading Black Panther?
Yeah, they're not. They changed it mid-issue.
Editorial meeting say this is what's going on Black Panther. You were using them in the book, and I mean, I feel like T'Challa's getting used in some other book as well, but I can't think of what it is.
I mean, he's in the Avengers book. He peeked in Moon Knight for a minute, but that was really quick though.
Do you think that because of how plugged in you are to noticing how much they're seemingly trying to pull a 2015 burial of the Fantastic Four with Black Panther, that it made you a little more sensitive to this issue, and maybe you might have held that against it, Chill? Because
yes, I am, but also I don't like books that are called Black Panther, and the lead character is the lead character, and he's not in the book.
Conversely, is there a
Black
way?
Panther technically was in the book.
Is there a way that
it's not T'Challa?
Black Panther was in the book.
Black Panther is in this book. You cannot argue that fact. Now, was it the current Black Panther T'Challa? No.
They used to put like featuring such and such on the covers back in the day. If it was a book about, what I'm saying, to give expose, which is what this book was, to introduce and give background, they would say like featuring King Metelli, Black Panther of, a century ago or whatever. But
I care more about Ndozi or Kivu'Ma. I care more about the villain Kivu'Ma than I do about King Metelli.
I think that's what it was more about Kivu'Ma. I thought that it was about introducing him, and they're going to get to current times, and we saw what he was going to do. He was trying to get rid of everyone that did anything wrong, and he's going to do the same thing to Wakanda, and Wakanda's going to have to respond to it. So it's about introducing where they were and why he's who he is, what he's doing, and the big problem why he's going to do what he's going to do to Wakanda, and that there's only be one person that's going to be able to stop him. So they're setting up something for T'Challa to be epic.
Facts. No, I have to admit to that. You're right. And maybe it took too long to do that. Okay. And the times that they didn't spend on a lot were these times.
Would you have liked it better if she took whatever she's planning on doing in issue number 7 and split it up a little bit better, where like only half of what happened in issue 6 was also in 7, and T'Challa more of it?
No, I would get rid of the fluff, like this page up top where he finally gets his powers and he's like taking care of these guys in this country and that country. I would have just gotten rid of that. I would eliminate some of those pages. But this page, this was the most important page of the whole comic. It's when he gets his powers at the top left. Give me a second, guys. I'll full screen
going to see the shaman and everything. Yeah.
They said it. It was
First, he's got a physical kind of training that he's got to do, and that shows us how powerful he is, strength-wise. And then also here, he's getting carved up. So I guess he can take a little bit of damage. There's a little bit of ritual stuff to it. So he's willing to get downright freaky dirty. A next panel on the page is that, I guess, that purple
herb. It's a different type of herb.
Oh, it's the diamond.
That's what I was like. It is a different herb. I don't know.
So then we can create more Kivu'Mas. Doesn't that suggest that?
If you have the connection, but that place that no longer exists. So
so we could have had more.
And I think it's like a trial too. Like that whole panel is him being, becoming worthy to even go through that ritual. I think that's how I took it. Him climbing the rocks, him getting carved on the face, going down to the snakes, all of that. I think that whole ritual is you becoming Kivu'Ma. And
what do you think about this? So how do you interpret the snake stuff? What is this? A test of endurance?
Yeah, it could, because what he said, but it is the world not also dark and wicked. They feared it.
It's like he's embracing the dark side of the Panther.
He's taking all the evilness of that plane, and it's all coming into him. He is their champion, basically.
Champion, right? Representation of whatever that plane is.
The bottom page panel, it shows you 2 white ghosts. Mm-hmm. What the hell does that mean? Does that mean he's got a physical form, ghost form? This is visual interpretation. What do you guys all think?
I thought it was like this is a challenge he had to overcome, to prove himself worthy. They were, doing that to him, to get the power.
But what does the 2 white ghosts have to do with that?
Well, he was saying you lose your he was saying in humanity, evil is part of humanity. That's basically kind of what I took from it. And once we recognize the evil and in that, the more human you are. That's kind of what I read from the panel. I don't know if y'all got the same thing.
I thought those ghosts were coming in. Yeah, and they're changing his body. His physical form was now changed. He's made it, and they changed his physical form into this purple entity now. So he is no longer human. They took it off and they made him into this new thing.
I was about to say, but I don't want to get too far out of the book, but when you watch a lot of media and you have a bad guy that gives himself up to something spiritually or whatever, there's a moment usually when he finds out that I'm not going to keep my body. I'm not going to be me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be turned more than I thought. And I think that's what it is that he realizes that this is a little bit more than I did not signed up for, but it's too late.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Just reading it, like when we cast our eyes away from those things that make our hearts ache, sorrow, cruelty, envy, grief, do we not lose something that makes us also human? There's undeniable power in the wilderness of our evil. So it's like being evil, even, losing that humanity, but what makes you human is the evilness of being human. You know what I'm saying?
More and more I look at it, it's an interesting concept. I mean, just like, I like what she did because he tied it to the Coats run and he tied it to the history of Wakanda. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, all right, we got this evil force. It's always a dark side of everything. We've only seen the pleasant side of the ancestral realm. Right. Now what else is up? What else is ever? Everybody go to ancestral realm may not have been,
good
up and up.
Mm-hmm. That was why I had to go back into that comic book. And when I went to the Colts run, I went to number 22. I was looking through my stuff, my archives. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And I had to reread this over. And I was like, oh, I remember what was going on here. And the entire ancestral plane was in trouble because they thought it was going to be taken over by, the
Chedaka?
Yeah. They thought they were all in shambles too. So it's like, bringing in the ancestral plane, understanding this plane's existence has a good and bad side, and explaining for us to understand that for going into the future, and that the ancestral plane can't even help them with this new villain. So it's only going to be one person that can win it, that can beat this entity.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and I think this is like a rebirth moment. I think he actually died. I think, you know what I'm saying? I think he actually died and was reborn as this.
And I'm less interested in the Dajalia ancestral stuff. I'm like, how did you fight him? What tactic did you use to fight him? And it was this. It was a.
I mean, he outsmarted him. He said, "Hey, I've said the ancestral medicine, the old folk medicine too. So I know what you are, and I know what crap you and bind you. You know, the Black Panther always has a plan like Batman. You know,
I've seen this before.
A spirit before.
He looked at his belt. He was like, "I got this powder right here for you." I was waiting.
It was very Batman utility belt. Like, I'm prepared for this.
We didn't get a lot on how to physically combat this guy. We know the remedy to kill him, but we didn't get to see a back-to-back kind of fight. So I'm looking to see T'Challa learn, and because he doesn't know anything about Kivu'Ma, learn and trial by error and see, like, oh, I can't punch you, can't go over it, can't go under it, I have to go through it. Like, you have to figure it out. The words of my boy King Matilli, who was a good king, and from everything I've seen, he's exactly the character I want T'Challa to be portrayed as in this comic book, right? He's showed intelligence, and he was like nice with his family. So family man, we got
authority,
ruler.
the way, yep,
authority. That's what I want. Yeah, Mike, this was the Black Panther, yeah.
Well, the thing is, it's like Batman once again. I do Batman. Some people want a perfect Batman that makes no mistakes, and people want a Batman that like always is like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know if I'm doing right by the family. But it's like, I found that same thing with Black Panther. People want a Black Panther that's perfect, that makes no mistakes, and people are, well, he's too good, so we got to deconstruct him again, And I think that's what he tried to do, but it did not work. And the fans rejected
I just say that.
You got to stop saying that word, bro.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I went to his new book, which I picked it up, because he offered mainstream. I don't kick him off of mainstream books. He's doing some IDW now. Or boom.
The words that the king says is, "I have studied you, Kivu'Ma, and I too bear the wisdom of my elders and a reverence for the old ways. Golden moonlit vervain binds cruel spirits." So that's the name of this powder. It's called the Golden Moonlit Vervain. We wouldn't name it unless we were going to revisit it, and I guess T'Challa's going to try to acquire it again. Maybe visit Zawavari and some of the other characters. "No longer will you move between worlds. In the name of Bast and here acolytes, I bind you to the Dajalia." What I like about this a lot is it's the Ewing special. Hey, there's a comic that happened a few years ago. It's still relevant to this day. Go pick up Black Panther 22 from Coates.
Yep.
She's really good about that. I noticed that in her Photon series as well, she will go back and reference old things that happened. Like, go read this. Or even when she did Ironheart, she decided to go back and read. When she brought Silhouette from New Warriors in Ironheart, I was like, oh, snap.
That's when you have respect for the character, right? Isn't this what it is? When you really care about what you're writing and you're creating this stuff, you go for the past, go for these great runs and bring it into the future.
And you've actually read it, so you're familiar with the character and how you can utilize them in your story.
Exactly. Do you think that T'Challa goes back and he visits Yeah, and he tells him this is how I beat him. Like, he has to go back and visit this, and that's why we're getting this whole introduction. So we don't have to figure out what he did or anything. He just tells them, and we already have the panels here.
I think that's my idea too. Like, if I was doing T'Challa going to ancestral plane, and he's finna find out, like, what is this dude right here, and how did y'all beat him like 100 years ago?
So we get to see it now, and then when they go revisit it, it could be 2-3 panels because we got the whole issue that told us what was going on, so we know exactly what's happening. So we just get back to the fighting. We don't have to go a whole flashback scene that's going to take 5 pages.
I see a whole issue with him in the ancestral plane, though. That's how they normally do it. They normally going to give you. He's going to go through like probably three kings. Till he gets to Imtelli, who's going to tell him what happened. That's what I think. It's going to be a whole issue.
Yeah, I would like if that happens. Hey, let's play that video from Comics Are Dope. BJ Kicks is in the building through pre-recorded video. But let's listen.
All right, so before I get into my thoughts on this issue, I got to just be straight up and be like, yo, we've had myself on the back because I was so right about Kivu'Ma. But anyway, no need to dwell on the past. No need to dwell on the past. Black Panther, issue number 6.
No, hold on. Let's pause that. Everybody roast him. Oh, I was right about my theory, Kivu. I don't want to ask
that. Nothing we were talking about, but yeah.
I'm in BJ's group, and he has been talking about it. I give him credit. He has been talking about it. Now I didn't, I didn't pick it up, so I give him credit for that.
Another great issue, in my opinion. I was surprised at some of the vitriol I saw online around this issue. I think people just wanted to be mad, but this issue was really dope in that I was supposed to talk about King Telly, so I'm gonna talk about King Telly. And first of all, like there was leaks of this issue, like the screenshot that was going around was that first like sort of big page of King Telly. And I was confused at how people were like, oh snap, there's a new Black Panther. What does this mean for Wakanda? Da, 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 da. And like the screenshot that everybody shared clearly said that this seems like 100 years ago. So anyway, Kingdom Telly ruled as Black Panther about 100 years ago. And hey, that makes him, by my estimations, at best, T'Challa's great-grandfather, which is interesting. It does add an interesting dynamic. Because last week or last month, I was saying, like, if this dude is like such a big deal in Wakandan history, how did T'Challa never hear about him? And, you know, without spoiling issue 6 completely, although I'm sure y'all are spoiling issue 6 completely, with King Telly basically dealing with Kivu'Ma, or the person who became Kivu'Ma, relatively quickly. I can imagine it just being another one of the Black Panther's exploits. No need to dwell on it. Black Panther's awesome. So cool. There you go, great grandson. Just know I defeated everybody that ever came up to me until they weren't defeated anymore. But my thoughts on Kingdom Telly in general, this kind of, I was wishing, if I'm honest, like that this was T'Challa. We've seen T'Challa be brutal like this. And if nothing else, this is proof that in our fantasy Black nationalist place that's never been conquered, right? Like, you can have a dictator who is both brutal and benevolent. Like, you can see, like, he's got all the smoke for his enemies, for evildoers, but when it's time to be tender, he's tender. Just like we've seen with his, you know, I'm gonna say great grandson, T'Challa. 100 years later, we've seen T'Challa try to rule with an iron fist, but also be open to new ideas. So the fact that this Kingdom Telly is dealing with the issues of immigration and free trade and commerce and stuff, and, you know, whether or not that is diluting Wakanda's legacy by allowing outsiders to also profit from or benefit from their resources and the haven that they've produced is interesting. Now, I will say that kind of, for me, introduces a little bit of confusion because, and maybe I'm just mixing up my MCU T'Challa and 616 T'Challa, but I thought it was T'Challa who was responsible for kind of opening up Wakanda to the outside world. And I always kind of wondered, how does Wakanda have bordering nations that they have war with when no one knows they exist? So obviously someone has to.
Well, no one knows that they're that advanced. People know that they exist. Yeah,
exactly. They just don't know the level of knowledge that's there.
Right.
No, they exist. But anyway, I thought Telly was great. I love the character design. Like, it's a cross between like classic Black Panther costumes we've seen in the past, but the feathers on the cape collar just really do it for me. But yeah, there's really not a whole lot to say except that whole "I am the rule of law." I was like, man, I need a Black Panther like this in my life, in my comic book reading experience. That's really all this made me want. I want T'Challa back as a dictator, and this, I shouldn't call him a dictator. I want T'Challa back as a monarch, because this is the type of stuff you get when the Black Panther can be a monarch, when the Black Panther can be like, yo, I'm the law. It begins and ends with me. This is my responsibility. You crossed me the wrong way. What's this going to Parliament and waiting for laws to be passed and voting on stuff
and getting candidates who could be influenced by outside lobbyists? Like, well, no, what is all this democracy hype? Give me that monarchy.
Nah, bro. Get me T'Challa back on the throne. That's what Kingdom Telly really meant for me. But awesome issue, awesome flashback, and I'm excited to see where this is going. And for all these reviewers that had smoke for this series, you're probably just, I don't want to say it.
Yeah, you
I'll
just go
stop
and say
short.
it.
I do have a question for the rest of the panel, though. So, 100 years ago, when we're having this conflict with Kivu'Ma, it takes place in Bernie and Zana. Wakanda's like sort of golden city, if you will. But now Kivu'Ma is set up in the shadows of the Jabari lands in Bernie and T'Chaka. Do you think there's any significance of that? Is it just a good location to strategize?
Is that a good location to strategize? It just cut off there. That's terrible. That's terrible that it just cut right there. But,
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, he moving, he moving unsight unseen right now. Nobody knows he exists. He just slowly put his pieces in place to take over. To make Wakanda great again.
what do you think about it, Brian?
I actually think that they did it on purpose, though, so he can move in the shadows. So when he gets to the capital city, he's at full power. He knows what's going on. He knows what he's going against. So makes him able to move and do things and to get more powerful as he goes along.
Right, mm-hmm. Flash.
I did not think about it, but I do think having him off to the side does give him time to amass his power. Maybe make a couple of fail safes against the Black Panther, since he obviously knows that, or he thinks that the Black Panther should probably have something for his plan A. So to be able to amass the power and kind of be ready for any kind of challenge. Yeah. Better to be off to the side and not in the spotlight.
Blues House.
I'm looking at it kind of I'm looking at it kind of different. Like, I agree with the whole amassing power. When this issue ended, if and I could be wrong, he takes control of people's bodies, right? Does he take control of people? Is that what happened at the end?
I'm assuming was Baba Nkisu, is that his name?
I think right, possessing Baba Nkisu,
yeah, that's who called on him. So I'm assuming that's who he's going to possess.
Right. So I'm looking at it like this: if he's going, let's say he's going from every major city amassing power, like y'all said, he gets to, because like I said, I don't think T'Challa's going to be the king. What if he ends up possessing somebody of importance in burning Zana?
That would be, yeah.
Damn.
Can you imagine he possesses the Folashade, the prime minister?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd say, you see, that's what's wrong, bro. If we had a Black Panther who had a heart-shaped herb who could counter these, then we wouldn't have this problem. No more democracy. See, that's just the end goal. I'm sorry.
I mean, you and BJ basically want T'Challa to be Doom and Namor, because Doom and Namor basically do that stuff all the time.
But that is what T'Challa is. That not what T'Challa is?
It depends who's writing.
And has been.
It depends on who's writing them. I mean, when Hickman wrote T'Challa, that's how he was. T'Challa was with, hey, whatever the Illuminati need to do, we gonna do it. We're gonna destroy our planet, we gonna do it. We gonna kill somebody, we gonna do it.
Let's go to Mike now. Mike, final thoughts?
I like the art. I like Chris Allen, but I did like the art in the book, and I thought it was what I've read. I thought it was well paced, and I agree with you guys. I mean, this is a setup, and hopefully this will pay off in a satisfactory way, and then T'Challa comes back and leads his own comic book again.
Well, I would have serious doubts that over the next 6 issues we'll do another one of these getaways. I think that this was for Kivu'Ma.
So would you want them to do like a highlight, like a different aspect of Wakandan history or Black Panther history or something?
In another series, yeah.
Not in this one, though.
Not again.
Like this. Yeah.
We could have moments of it, right? Like, I'm not mad that all 20 pages from the last week. The last time we read a book, there was like a park and there was all of these statues and yeah, whatever. All right, sure. You want to show off their architecture and that's okay for a page out of 20. That's okay.
I think but as long as more Wakanda, like more Black Panther. We got how many X-Men titles do we have? Different Avengers titles. Thor had 3 titles at one point in time, if you're including Thor, Jane, and
Unworthy Thor.
Yeah, like, can we get another Black Panther title to maybe tie in to tell more? You know what I'm saying? Tell other stories.
We had that though. Remember, we had Black Panther in the crew. We had that.
Yeah, we did.
It was it a mini? Because it ended kind of short to me. I thought it was going to be ongoing, but it may have been a mini series.
We did what it was, Black Panther, Agents
Rise.
of Wakanda.
Rise of the Panther, Agents of Wakanda. There's been Wakanda, which happened recently. The King and Black tie-in, the Last Annihilation tie-in during just recently, the last 5 years. And then there's an Ultimate Black Panther.
But I want Ultimate. I want stories or titles that coincide with what's going on with with T'Challa right now.
A Shuri series and a T'Challa series.
A Shuri series.
Yeah.
Right. That run parallel with each other, can maybe bump heads and tell others, things like that.
Yeah,
there was a Shuri series going on at the same time as a Black Panther series. But
didn't you read it? Remember how it had nothing to do with T'Challa? She was trying to find T'Challa, but there was really no interactions.
That was during the Coast Intergalactic Empire, where she's trying to find him, and she had that whole kind of missing adventure with Ironheart.
Honestly, man, terrible timing, bro. Like super terrible timing. That Ta-Nehisi Coast Intergalactic Empire stuff.
Yeah.
Right after the movie,
that's why I didn't drop in on it personally. I read the Rise of the Black Panther miniseries, which I think was supposed to be like a year one type of series when the Black Panther movie came out. But I really wanted to get into the main Black Panther book. But as a first book, I had no interest in Black Panther in space.
Yeah, I know it threw a lot of people off.
It's a run, y'all. Y'all gotta check.
Now the people who read it,
and then when him and Blue Marvel and oh my dude, it was.
I've heard people loved it. So around then I was a brand new reader, period, and so that would have been my first overall comic series, because I got in because of MCU stuff. That was my first overall comic series, and I just didn't think Black Panther in space would have been it.
One thing that's common with all these series we're mentioning is they are outside. Like Black Panther Legends, that was 4 issues, and they kind of retold his origin, which is retconning, and that's not pretty. But all of the time, there's never like consequential, this storyline plot will have to integrate with that, and you guys are going to be mixing and attaching. And I at this point, it's a pattern, and it's deliberate. And
I think so too. Because he was doing
on the outside. But they could have done it with X-Men. You could have done a lot more with that whole thing. I mean, the whole thing with Blue Marvel and him. I mean, he could have been around in all this stuff, and they've intentionally kept it in their box. You stay in your lane.
Because during the intergalactic run, what didn't he have something going on with Avengers? What was going on with Avengers at that time?
Yeah, he was the leader of the Avengers.
He was the leader. He was the chairman, right? That's when they elected him chairman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So because that's what confused me. I'm like, okay, we got this new story with T'Challa being the chairman of the Avengers, but space. Like, I was confused. Like, what is?
I mean,
what is? You know what I'm saying?
But if you read comics long enough, you start to realize like all the stuff that Batman, because everybody understands Batman. All the stuff Batman does. How the hell could Batman be a Justice League of America doing the same stuff?
Oh no! Detective Comics, Batman comics, Justice League comics, every Batman miniseries comic. Yeah. I'm like, when does Batman sleep?
He doesn't sleep.
He don't.
But we accept that. Well, Batman, this is what he did. This on Monday. He did this on Tuesday. We accept that.
Like Batman has 6 different books at all times.
At all times.
And Wolverine is the same way at Marvel. Wolverine is that same boat.
But we got to get to the point where T'Challa's like that. That's the thing, and I think because we don't think that T'Challa is. I don't know if I like
that though. I don't know if I like that though.
I'm saying oversaturated. Right. I agree with you. We don't need him oversaturated, but the understanding that we can have multiple stories told at one time. Like you said, Wolverine, he in Japan over here, he in, you know what I'm saying, Alaska and Canada over here, he running around with the X-Men, Batman doing things with 8 different Robins at the same, you know what I'm saying? But we understand that with T'Challa, like I said, that because that was a main storyline. That Intergalactic was the Black Panther main storyline. Right. It wasn't like an offshoot or
it ran like a year. I mean, it ran a while.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But you know, when it finished, I think it was Coach's love letter to black superheroes at Marvel, because he basically brought almost every black
superhero in.
I think he missed one person, like Triathlon or something. That's the only person I can think of who wasn't in there.
Blue Marvel.
No, Blue Marvel was in it.
Blue Marvel, he was there.
Sure. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Here's a question for those who read Intergalactic. I'm gonna. do I necessarily need to read Coach Run before Intergalactic or anything else?
No.
Intergalactic.
That's what I'm saying. This is
its own entity.
Its own. It was so because I was like, wait, is that because there's so many characters that should be on Earth, and so I was like, wait, what is? This is totally.
And I remember when Intergalactic first started, people had a problem because basically T'Challa is a slave, or and people are like, why you enslaved the black man? Why you got him a slave? And I'm like, man, let's see what happened first. I think Coach saved it. But I made that same argument for.
No, it turned out to be good at the end. It did. It turned out to be good. It was just confusing to get into it. What was everything that was going on at the time? That's, I think, going back to what Flash saying. If that's my first introduction to Black Panther, when I know that I watched the movie, then I'm like, what the hell? What is this? I would get that confused too. I get it.
I mean, but you can say that about a lot of different things. I mean, when he and Storm take over the Fantastic Four.
That was Dwayne McDuffie. That was
you have with him. He did a lot of stuff with X-Men. Like, there's a lot of stuff they could have involved him in, and they pushed him back into his lane a lot. So that's why I felt like that was my biggest problem. Like, why can't you branch off into these things? He is connected to these people. He was married. All these things are actually things that have happened. So why'd you always push it back? They didn't like having too many titles with Black Panther involved. I thought that was weird.
You guys notice how the last kind of few minutes of this, we stopped talking about the current comic book issue? That's how we get there. To get these alternate stories is to keep on picking up these comic books and making them know that just like Spider-Man, he can support 2 ongoings, and you do have to have the writers communicate with each other, or hire the same writers who do both books, but get the 2 writers to communicate with each other and figure out how they can step on each other's toes while they're writing. The last page of this comic book has T'Challa back on that roof. We got Kivu'Ma, who is possessed, eyes are glowing. What are we expecting to happen in the very next page when we pick up issue number 7? What are your theories?
Fight. That's what I expect. A fight. I expect T'Challa to kind of lose or not be caught off guard. That's what I expect.
You know what? The dialogue makes me think T'Challa has an inkling of what's going on, because he says that just like at the wedding, I'm always there too late or something like that.
Late, yeah.
I have a feeling he knows that whatever this is, he doesn't want to just lunge at. So I don't know if he'll jump into a fight off.
I agree with what you're saying, because I feel like a lot of this entire series, he's been very detective-like. He's been trying to figure out what's going on before I just jump into this problem, because I don't want to, put the shining light too much on me. I don't want to make this huge thing. I want to figure out what exactly is going on. So I feel like the next thing is going to be a dialogue between them. That's what we're going to get, dialogue between them. Then he's going to realize maybe I can't win this one. And he might lose the fight and then
I think he's going to lose. Yeah,
retreat and go and say, okay, I'm going to figure out what the hell's going on. But at least to get a dialogue first, because he's going to question what's going on. And then he's going to how he's going to get the answers, because he has no one else besides him.
Do we know, this is jumping ahead, but do we know what issue he's got the crossover with Wolverine with? There's a Wolverine crossover book, and Marvel's been doing these for a little while. But I think it's going to be a book where I think Wolverine's going to be in Wakanda, and it's going to be one issue of Black Panther and one issue of Wolverine with that same story.
Yeah, because I think this does tie in with the Fall of X. I think it ties in with the Fall of X. I do. Yeah.
Okay. So still, you may get one issue. You may get another issue where you don't get as much T'Challa as you want, because Wolverine's barging in on your territory.
Canada forever. That's Chillmonger. That's Brian from the YouTube channel. Spoiler Kings is where you go to get more of him. TJ's YouTube channel is Flash by Night. We got Marklin. Marklin, should I represent House of Nerd Show?
Yeah, man, represent House of Nerd Show, man. We on hiatus right now, but we'll be back.
Mike's got a comic book shop. Forget the channel. The comic books you can purchase at what was it? Bridgeport? Which small town?
Bridgeport. Actually, we're the biggest city in the state of Connecticut, so excuse yourself.
What is it about like size with men? They never.
Well, I was just. You used the adjective little, so I just had to correct you.
I mean, compared to Chicago, it's little, man.
Oh, we're having a city measuring contest.
I'm in Birmingham, Alabama, so I'm on the low end too.
Oh, well, I'm in Montgomery, Alabama, so I'm below Birmingham.
I saw you in that Roll Tide shirt back there. I was gonna say,
I'm actually in the biggest city in America, so
Shut up,
Jacksonville. I am Jacksonville, biggest city in America. Let's go.
Wait, is that a fact? What?
Yes, it's a fact.
That's not true. You guys are like 400.
Wait. Where's Jacksonville?
Florida.
Okay.
By population or land mass?
By land mass.
Land mass because it's like over here. Over here.
I said the biggest city. That's all I said. Whether it's populated or not.
It's about land mass. We know it's New York.
Because half of it's swamp, so you can't even use it. So it's all right.
I thought you were gonna say North Carolina. You were claiming part of Kalamazoo as the city.
These stupid Americans. Biggest city in America. I'm in the biggest city in Canada. I'm the biggest city on this panel. Landmass, population. Chicago's not that populated, right? You guys have like suburbs,
like 300 million. Yeah, we're like the third most populated city
in America.
Yeah.
Chicago.
We're not ending this stream until we figure out if my city's bigger than your city. Okay.
I don't want to.
Your city is a little my city. That's what your.
I don't want to. According to Google, blue could be off a little bit, and I guess I got to represent for my neighbor, but apparently New York is the biggest.
What
city.
did they grow?
That's what I thought because all
they got another. They got
boroughs.
another county or something.
It's because they got so many boroughs. Because there's Manhattan. It's just all the boroughs. When you add them all up, the landmass is probably what it is.
Yeah, I'm saying New York is. It's 8 million people in New York at any given time. I think.
Well, this one says nearly 9 million people. It's the largest city in the United States by population.
That's because all the people that died. Chill. We lost like 300 million people, man.
Let Mike finish his point.
Like New York. Know that, right?
They 2023.
Like New York, Detroit. They don't like nowhere else.
Yeah. We don't have jobs here, so that's why they don't count us.
Hey man, that was T'Challa time. Everyone, thanks for coming on in. We are out.